Hey writers, welcome back to another mini lesson for your informational writing piece. Today you are in the revising stage of the writing process, which you may have heard me say before is like the heart of the writing process. Revision is where you take your draft and you really make it shine. So this is kind of, for me personally, this is the fun part. This is where you can go back and fix things up and make it really a special piece of writing. So today in this mini lesson, we're going to be talking about a special technique that we use in informational writing. And that is using expert words and then explaining what they mean. So one thing you know is that informational writing is like teaching. When we make an informational piece of writing, we are teaching our audience about something. And when we do that, we want to make sure we're using expert words. Now, if you are teaching someone about something and you use an expert word that, of course, you know because you're the expert, but your audience might not know it. So we're going to take a look at some mentor text. Well, today we're going to take a look at our mentor text, Polar Bears, and see what kind of techniques Laura Marsh uses in order to teach her readers what those expert words mean. All right, let's get started. Okay, here's our book, Polar Bears, and I just want to show you on a few pages some things that Laura Marsh does when she's using an expert word. So I'll just give you a second to look at this page, see if you notice anything. You may notice that here there's a little pop out that says word bite. So Laura Marsh, when she uses an expert word about polar bears in her writing, so let's see, a polar bear's body is built for the Arctic. Arctic is an expert word that is like really special to understand if you want to learn about polar bears. And so she identified that as an expert word. What she did is put a little pop out here. And so she defined the word Arctic. Arctic means the area near the North Pole where it's very cold. So when she uses an expert word in her writing, she puts a little pop out so that the readers can understand what that means. So here it is again. A polar bear's paws do many things. Paws dig dens in the snow. Dens. Okay, so there's another word that's like a polar bear expert word, and she put again the definition, what that word means. That's a word bite. Now another place, here's another word bite, but I'm going to show you one other thing. Where's the other one? Here. So here there's another expert word, cub. That means a baby bear. But not only does Laura Marsh define it in this pop-out, but she defines it right in the text. Let me read this. Every new polar bear is special. A mother bear has babies called cubs. So right in that sentence, you understand that cubs is a baby bear, right? A mother bear has babies called cubs. So she puts the definition, she tells you what it means right in the writing, but she's also using this technique as a pop-out. Now, one other thing she does, which is probably something you've seen before, is she has a glossary at the end where she has those 4 words, Arctic, cub, den, and float, and she puts them at the end so that now, so this is kind of like a glossary, right? So expert words that she thinks are really important, she's put the words and she used a picture and the definition and put it in the end. Okay, writers, now we've seen how Laura Marsh has defined and gave more information about her expert words in 3 different ways. 1, she added a pop-out that told the definition of the word. 2, in some places, she decided to include the definition right in the sentence. And 3, she added a glossary at the end so that the readers could check, go to that part of the book and check the definitions. So she had all 3 elements. You can also include that, or you cannot. Or you can just pick 1 or 2. Another thing is, what do you do next, right? What's your next step? So your job now would be to reread your text, take a highlighter or a pen, and when you find a place that you have an expert word, circle it, and then figure out how you're going to define that. Are you going to put a pop out? Are you going to add a glossary at the end? Are you going to add a little bit to your sentence to define the word? So let me show you how I do that. I'm in my introduction. Heart beating, breathing heavy, sweat dripping. Sound fun? Well, if you're like me, this sounds like a blast. It sounds like you are on a hike, taking in beautiful views and enjoying physical exercise at the same time. Physical exercise, that might be something I want to define. So I've just highlighted it, and I'm going to go back to it later when I figure out how I want to define these words. If you want to learn more, keep reading. In this informational text, I'll explain why people hike, discuss different types of hike, review the types of hiking equipment you'll need, inform you about safety precautions. Safety precautions, I probably want to define that, right? So I've highlighted that as well. I know I'm going to find a way to tell the definition of that word. And even tell you about my favorite hike. So get your hiking boots on and enjoy the view. Okay, so I've just done that with my introduction here. I found 2 expert words that I should probably define for my readers. And I'm going to read the rest of my draft. I'm going to highlight all the words that I want to define. And then I'll decide on a way that I want to define that for my readers. So I love the idea of pop-outs. So maybe I will add some little pop-out boxes and write the definitions for each of those words. So your task is to do the same thing. Take your draft, read through it, take a pen or a highlighter, and identify those words that are expert words, find the definitions, and then decide on how you're going to include that in your writing. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. Have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.